Welcome to the University of Kentucky, virtually. Today we'll be talking about our critical care medicine programs, but it's important to note that there is a separate video for our pulmonary and critical care medicine program. We are sister programs and share a lot of things like faculty, staff, rotations, and curricula. But if you belong in the pulmonary and critical care medicine video, it's okay. We promise you won't miss anything when you head over there. Thank you for joining us. We know that your time is valuable, and we'll try to make good use of it. We mean to accomplish this video with the following: introducing who we are, talking about our program, our clinical training rotations and sites, our procedural training, the curriculum, the overall block schedule, and as much concrete information about the program as we can possibly squeeze in. We'd also like to talk about what we love about being here at UK and the things that we love about Lexington, and we'll end with a few comments from some of our fellows. I'm Erin Kamak, and I'll be the voice behind these videos. I'll introduce myself first, and then let my colleagues say hello. I'm Erin Kamak. I'm the Critical Care Programs faculty member, but I'm the Pulmonary and Critical Care Programs Program Director. I came here to the University of Kentucky about 2022 from Temple University, which is where I was an intern, a resident, a fellow, and a junior faculty member. I always had loved medical education, and I was really looking to get to sit in the big chair and do the dream job, which is why I, looked for a new position here. And I'm so lucky that I did. This has been the best career move I've ever made in my life. And it's been fantastic to move here from Philadelphia, which a lot of people wouldn't think is the case. You know, I lived in Philadelphia for 17 years, and I think a lot of folks who are from the coast may not recognize what a great little gem that Lexington is. And so in addition to getting the dream job and having all the support in the world and the opportunity to work with really fantastic people, I also am fortunate enough to have a really full and vibrant personal life here in Lexington.
Hi, I'm Mike Powers. I'm the Critical Care Medicine Program Director at the University of Kentucky. I originally trained in Oregon at Oregon Health Science University for medical school, and then moved to San Diego for residency and fellowship, and stayed there to start my staff career. My background's a little bit different than a lot of people at academic medical centers, because I was actually a physician for the United States Navy during that time in San Diego, which allowed me to do some pretty unique things that not many people get to do. And I hope someday to get to tell you a little bit more about those things.
My name's Taryn Trott. I'm APD of Critical Care here at UK. I grew up in California before moving to Kentucky for medical school. I stayed here for emergency medicine residency, did an ultrasound fellowship, worked for a little bit, and then did a critical care fellowship at Cooper University. I came back in 2020, mostly because I love UK, I love the culture here, and I was stoked to be a part of our medical ICU.
Hi everyone, I'm Parijat Sen. I'm an assistant professor in the Division of Pulmonary and Critical Care at University of Kentucky. I also have the privilege of serving as the Associate Program Director for the Pulmonary and Critical Care Fellowship. I did my medical school in India, in Calcutta Medical College, then moved to the United States to do my residency in Newark, New Jersey, followed by a fellowship in Pulmonary and Critical Care at Detroit, Michigan. I started here in 2019, and right out of fellowship, I knew that I wanted to be in a place which allowed me to pursue my passion, which is medical education, getting the opportunity to work with medical students, with residents, and with fellows. And at UK, I felt I found the perfect balance where I could pursue some of my clinical interest and other academic pursuits, while also have enough time and opportunities to work on curriculums, bedside teaching, didactics, research, and other forms of educational experiences with learners. I've been here since 2019 now, and it's been a great experience.
Now that you've met us, let's talk about where we are. Lexington, Kentucky is the heart of the state of Kentucky. We're about an hour and a half from Cincinnati and about an hour from Louisville. Our town of about 500,000 people has three huge industries: horses, bourbon, and education.
Lexington has been a real surprise in a positive way. It's sort of that quintessential college town, and I never experienced that earlier in my academic career. It's a place where on Saturday when there's a football game, stores might close. I was shocked the first weekend I was here. I went to the tile store to buy tile, and they had a sign up on the door that said closed for football game.
At the time, I was annoyed, but now I actually really appreciate that is the way the city works. The university is truly the heart of the city. It is what drives things and what brings people together. And being part of that has been great. It's a town that's manageable in size, so easy to get around, easy to do things, but big enough to have really the vast majority of what you want. And if it doesn't, there's bigger cities a very short drive away in Cincinnati and Louisville. I think the presence of the university really diversifies the city at large, both in terms of the people that live here and the opportunities that exist from an entertainment perspective, from a cultural perspective, all of those things. It really is, it feels much bigger than it is on paper. So it's been a great place to live.
Well, what's it like to live in Lexington? So when I commuted in Philadelphia, I drove 25 to 30 minutes a day and traveled about 4 miles in each direction. And that's pretty usual, for a city like that with kind of poor public transit, but, a big population. Here in Lexington, I commute for about 18 minutes on a bicycle twice a day, which is great for my mental health and well-being. That alone is a huge jump forward in terms of quality of life for me. I also can get to town on my bicycle easily, so I can drop by and pick things up and shop or go out to eat or whatever I need to do just by grabbing the bike lane and going a few extra blocks downtown. One of the nice things about our campus is that we're situated like right on the edge of the actual town of Lexington. So we're not having like a really long distance, like you'd have to take a bus or anything to get to downtown locations. You can literally just walk, which is amazing. I really thought that Lexington, being a much smaller city than where I am from, would have fewer things to do, but my social life and experience of the arts is just as full as it was when I lived in Philadelphia. This past week, I went to see an opera that was put on by the UK opera company that was called Sanctuary Road, which was a story about slavery in Lexington. And all of the singers were UK vocal performance graduate students, and it was an A+ performance at the Opera House downtown. What more do you need? In Philadelphia, you can see great opera too. You have to wait for opera season. But there's no difference in terms of the quality of that sort of art that you're able to access. And if you really do want something that Lexington doesn't have, like a great big symphony orchestra, then Cincinnati and Louisville are like a hop, a skip, and a jump from here. It takes less time to get to Louisville than it did to get downtown and back in Philadelphia. Just amazing. There's a ton of outdoor activities around here. I have to admit I'm not as outdoorsy as I used to be, but there are a lot of opportunities for that for those folks who are interested in it. We get together here, with our colleagues and co-fellows and co-faculty quite frequently. We enjoy the restaurant scene in Lexington. We get together at all kinds of neat little speakeasies and breweries and opportunities to go for hikes. So we are not bored, I promise. Those of you who are from the coast, there's a lot of great things to discover in Lexington. It's a diverse city. It has a ton of interesting humans in it and a ton of great stuff to do. Within Lexington, this is the University of Kentucky campus. The map here encompasses all of the university, including the health science campus, which is literally right in the middle. The campus includes the following training sites: Chandler Hospital, which is the flagship hospital for the university, Good Samaritan Hospital, a community center closer to downtown, and the VA Medical Center, which serves veterans in our community. Clinical rotations for our programs encompass all of these sites so that fellows who graduate from our programs have a diversity of experience at different levels of care. Most of the fellowship takes place at Chandler Hospital, which is the flagship quaternary referral center for our state and the #1 institution by U.S. News and World Report. It's a state-of-the-art, brand new building with over 1,000 beds, and it's currently building yet another tower on yet another wing, so you can expect it to keep growing during your fellowship. At Chandler, we have access to the full menu of critical care. This includes VA and VV ECMO, advanced cardiac support devices like LVADs and the Impella system, and specialized ICU services for trauma, surgery, neurology, neurosurgery, cardiac, and cardiothoracic surgical patients. This is in addition to our very large MICU, which encompasses 4 full ICU teams. Medical education here is huge. We are in the top 5% of institutions by size in the United States for graduate medical education, having nearly 1,000 graduate medical education trainees at the health science campus. We also serve 804 medical students, with a plan to increase that number to over 1,000 in the coming years. A brand new medical school is currently under construction to accommodate these additions and to better serve the many clinician and PhD scientists who generate over $160 million annually in NIH grants. The Chandler site is right next door to the Kentucky Clinic, which is the outpatient quaternary referral clinic for the university's faculty members. We are also home to a post-ICU recovery clinic for ICU survivors, which has generated NIH-funded research under our division's faculty. In addition to the Chandler site, there are 2 additional sites for critical care training. The Lexington VA Medical Center is home to a mixed medical and surgical ICU. The Good Samaritan location, known by the fellows as the Great Sam, is home also to a MICU. Senior fellows spend time here running the ICU team as though they are the attending physician. Procedural training within our fellowships is robust. Our fellows routinely graduate with staggering procedural numbers, but training at the bedside isn't our only offering. We're proud to have a faculty-led simulations program which incorporates high acuity, low occurrence events, things like Minnesota or Blakemore tube placement or emergency cricothyrotomy. TEE training with Dr. Dar also sets fellows up for success during their CT-SICU rotation. POCUS here at UKY is in robust practice.
One of my main focuses to provide a ultrasound curriculum for the fellows throughout their 2 or 3 years here. And we do that in really 3 different ways. We have a noon series, which is kind of the fundamentals of ultrasound, make sure everyone's on the same page. And then we also have a self-selective track and also a selective. So the track itself, it runs about 9 months, and it's a pretty intensive cardiac focus. 4 or 5 months of the track is dedicated to things, advanced concepts in cardiac ultrasound, things like VTIs, RV, function, assessment of PE, tamponade, effusions, wall motion abnormalities, all those things we covered. And then, of course, we transition into abdominal and thoracic modalities. All this prepares pretty well for the critical care echo boards, which some of our fellows have elected to take and pass as well. We also have a selective, which is 1 or 2 weeks where we do a lot of bedside scanning, we do a lot of QA sessions, we go over images, and we build that repertoire and those repetitions for bedside scanning.
We are also lucky to now be home to a medical education track, which incorporates a curriculum designed to prepare graduating fellows for future roles in med ed at any level. If you have already completed a track like this one as a resident, this track opens opportunities to enhance your skills and to participate in medical education research and scholarly work within the division. If you have not, the track is designed to additionally teach the skills that separate a good attending from a great one, starting with adult learning theory and ending with application. Fellows at our institutions perform intubations and become airway experts, graduating with between 50 and 80 intubations each. Those with interest also have access to elective rotations with our interventional pulmonary medicine team to gain further bronchoscope and chest tube placement experience. Our program's block schedule keeps fellows busy, but there are plenty of opportunities for a haircut half day. We offer the mean amount of ICU time compared to other fellowships nationally. In an effort to ensure adequate diastole, our fellows usually work about 1 weekend a month and don't get called in for cross coverage for any services other than for MICU nights and pulmonary consults. Our clinical curriculum is easy to review in detail online, but Dr. Mays can tell you more about our didactic curriculum.
From them. And we've created a curriculum that's kind of works in two halves. The first half of the year is core curriculum, introductory things, layering on those chapters of, this is part A, B, and C. And then in the second half of the year, we take a more nuanced approach. We have outside speakers come in that talk about higher level topics that we've already had a good baseline for. And so it's really an opportunity to build our fellows' base knowledge and confidence and really inspire them to push themselves to that next level. We introduce topics to them, and then they kind of are able to take the reins and learn more on their own independently. It's received a lot of incredible feedback, and I am really proud to say that once again this year we have a 100% board rate passing.
Okay, is that I think we have a really collegial culture with all the different specialties at UK. I feel like I can reach out to anyone in this hospital and have that academic, empowering kind of relationship to really focus on getting patients the best care they have. And I think it's fun to work here. I think everyone kind of comes together and has a good attitude when we show up to work every day.
Every time I talk to anyone about the culture at UK, the one thing that I always mention are the people. These have to be some of the kindest, nicest, and wonderful people that I've worked with. And no place exemplifies that more than our ICUs and the clinic, where the physicians, the nurses, the pharmacists, the respiratory therapist, the ancillary staff all get together with the common motive of providing exceptional care to the people of Kentucky. And I think this culture kind of seeps over into the fellowship as well, where there's a camaraderie between the fellows and the faculty, where we not just love hanging out at work, but outside work as well, which could be a summer barbecue, which could be a game night, or which could just be a casual evening over drinks somewhere. So it may sound a cliche, but I have to say that we are like an extended family in this fellowship.
I'm Brooke Duke. I'm one of the chief fellows for CCM this year. I'm actually a PGY 7 because I did cardiology first. So I did 3 years of cardiology. That last year of cardiology was split between cardiology and critical care, and now I'm in my critical care year.
I'm Jasmine McDowell. I'm also one of the critical care chiefs. I'm currently a PGY 5, and my training is in emergency medicine.
I really enjoy my time at UK. I've been here now for medical school, residency, cardiology fellowship, and now critical care fellowship, so I'm clearly never leaving. But I do really like the culture at UK, not just within critical care, just in general. I think it's a really welcoming environment for critical care, kind of contrasting that with other things I've done at UK. I think everybody's really, really vested in helping you do well and helping you learn how to take care of patients really well. I think we have a really sick patient population, so I feel like that wears on people over time. And I think having this environment that's very welcoming is really helpful for that.
I found that our attendings are very supportive. And when you work in the ICU, you work long nights, long days. And so having staff that's there, not just our attendings, but also the nurses and the techs, it's been very helpful to have people that are friendly and also engaging.
As far as MICU nights go, I think it's my favorite experience in the MICU. Coming from cardiology, I've done a lot of cardiology nights and a lot of consulting nights, but I think MICU gives you the best combination of both admissions, consults, and then taking care of really sick patients in the ICU at night. I think you get the most autonomy at night, and it's definitely the busiest rotation that we do. But I think it's packed with a lot of really good learning, and so it's definitely my favorite part of MICU training. I think definitely our patient population is very sick, and so after a string of nights, I feel like I've learned so much in a short period of time. Even though it's a lot of hours, it actually goes by really fast because you are interested and you're doing a lot of things you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think with nights now, we've added back attendings, which both of us have now had shifts with attendings. And I found that a lot more learning happens at nights where it's not just how do we deal with a critical patient and stabilize, but now we actually have time and we have resources to kind of take a step back and kind of figure out what can we do for this patient.
My favorite thing about our UK CCM program for sure, and I think it's probably the most important for people interested in coming here, is that I wanted a place where I would feel very comfortable taking care of really sick patients after this, and that no matter where I go, I would feel very confident in my training and the experience I had. And I think I got to see my MICU colleagues as a cardiology fellow, and I was very impressed by how well they managed such sick patients, and I really wanted that experience. So I think for people coming outside of UK, the biggest thing I would say is that we deal with really sick patients, and you'll be really, really well equipped to handle that afterwards.
I would say for me that I would say don't be afraid to ask questions. Kind of coming in as an emergency medicine graduate into a heavily internal medicine field, it kind of took me a little bit of time to kind of get accustomed and used to things, but I found that even despite that, there wasn't any lack of procedural experience. There wasn't any lack of opportunities to learn on rounds. And so all of the faculty that I've met have been very receptive and very kind, and it's a great learning environment. So me, after graduation of fellowship, I'm looking to do combined emergency medicine and critical care. And I think that our fellowship program here really helps us to learn about all the different aspects that are ICU, whether that's CT, whether that's cardiac ICU, neurosurgery. We kind of get exposure to a little bit of everything, which I think really will help me to be prepared for the community setting outside of this.
We have a few tracks in our critical care program. One of the tracks is the POCUS track. I think, especially coming from cardiology, echo is a huge part of how I manage the ICU, especially for CCU. And I think the POCUS track is a really good opportunity for maybe someone who didn't have a separate fellowship devoted to one organ before this to be able to kind of dedicate that time to get really good at making good bedside decisions based on POCUS.
And we also have the medical education tract, which is a great opportunity for folks that are interested in academics or interested in education. It involves research and kind of getting that one-on-one time with our attendings as well.
I think one of the unique things about our program that we had started a year ago was our simulation program. So Dr. Smith has kind of taken it upon himself to help develop this curriculum where we go every few months to the sim lab and there's different scenarios that we do. He's also made it really interesting for some of the procedural skills that are less common, like crikes. They don't come up very often, thank goodness, I guess. But he set up some things to let us be able to practice. And so I think it's really helpful for procedures you won't see as often to have more exposure to it, and especially the repetitiveness of it throughout the year, I think is helpful.
I also think we have a great kind of orientation. As someone who's coming in from emergency medicine and kind of stepping into a whole new environment, it was great to be able to not just meet the co-fellows, but also meet some of our attendings, kind of learn about some of the unique niches that they have, and also kind of use a month almost to just be able to explore the city and kind of get to know Lexington.
So I've been in Lexington now for med school, residency, and my very long fellowship at this point, and I really enjoy living here. Probably my favorite thing is the coffee places that we have, and that's pretty much what I do on the weekends or any day I have off. I actually drive 20 minutes to the other side of town to go to a really nice coffee shop that I like. I think where it is a college town too that has that feel, and so if that's something you're interested in, we definitely have it. We also have a lot of really good restaurants too.
I agree. We definitely have a lot of different restaurants, different cuisines here, which coming from a bigger city into Lexington, I was kind of surprised by how much that we did have. I enjoy being outdoors. So there's a lot of parks. There's some biking trails out here that I've enjoyed. There's also the mountains are about 2-ish hours away. And so I've gotten to hike out there with some friends as well.
So looking forward for critical care, I was really looking for a good combined program that would let me kind of hone what I got from the program. So it was very, very important to me coming from cardiology to gain a lot of procedural skills in airway management, chest tubes, kind of other things that maybe the ER folks had already gained a lot of knowledge about. And so I think our program's really good about combining it and helping you get what you need out of it. And so I've been very honest with these are the things that I want to gain from this year. And the attendings have all been really, really good about not just when I'm on service, letting me know if there's a procedure, but a few weeks ago, I was really wanting more bronchoscopies to practice on and to get better at. And so they actively looked for them for me and would let me know if they had some in the ICU that someone else wasn't interested in, I could come do it. So I really enjoyed that they were going to help me model my combined program to give me what I needed out of it to be a good CCU doctor in the future.
I chose UK because I wanted to be in an area where I felt like I could learn not just from my attendings, but also my co-fellows. I feel like the people that I've gotten to know here and kind of along the interview trail as well, I feel like everyone has had positive things to say. And so kind of jumping into that now, I think that I've gotten exposure to critical care medicine that I wouldn't have gotten somewhere else.
There's so much more we could tell you about. We go to big conferences, we try to stay fit, we hang out together, we teach and love medical education, we do research. But we'll end our video with some comments about our culture and our future. Since our fellows are the best of both, we'll let them have the last word.
I think our fellowship program is really responsive to the needs of our fellows. They're really interested in our input, not just from chief fellows, but our whole fellowship in general. I think one good example of that recently is we were changing our nights a little bit, and they had asked how we like to get consults from other services. And based on what we had said, they changed how that was happening to make it more easy for us at night to triage patients. So I found it really helpful and a good example of how they actually changed something based on what we wanted.
I agree. I think the program really likes the fellows' input from meetings that we have as chiefs with our program leadership, as well as meetings with fellows and fellows with our program leadership. They really want to know how we can make this better and how we can make it better for not just the fellows that are coming in, but for the future as well.
As far as relationship between fellows, I do think we do a really good job just naturally of whenever we have interesting patients, all of our teams are located on the same floor, which is really nice. When I was in training as a resident here, it actually wasn't like that. So it was really nice when we moved. And so I feel like a lot of times I take snacks, go over to the other team and just talk about our patients. And so I think just at work, it's really a good environment and I really enjoy it. And not just interesting patients. I feel like we go check on each other throughout the day. And I really like having our kind of home base be the same floor where we're all together. And I do think after work too, we do a lot of things. I think a lot of people are really a fan of trivia, which is probably the most common thing that we do outside of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think especially from the aspect of kind of things outside of work and also in work itself. We do some moonlighting over at the VA here, and we're really good at covering each other's shifts if needed, kind of helping out where we can, whether or not we're on service or off service. And we try to kind of make the most of those opportunities outside of work.
The culture at UK is one of the reasons I stayed. I think it is very collegial, but also we have great camaraderie, not only between us as fellows, but also faculty. They are highly supportive of anything that you want to do, or if you're having a rough time and need support, there's always a faculty member here that is very supportive. It's also a great place to train. We take care of really, really sick patients, and no better place than to have sick patients in the ICU to learn. And so the culture throughout the entire UK healthcare is fantastic.